We started off with a $60,000 13-week T-bill ladder in one of my retirement accounts last fall. And yes, we've just been adding to it ever since. Hello, Super Saver. I hope you're healthy and well. So in today's video, I'll give a quick update on the T-bill ladders in our various accounts, as well as answer the top 5 T-bill laddering questions I've gotten in recent weeks, including 1. When will we stop laddering? 2. How do you ladder for an expense which has a due date that doesn't neatly meet the traditional T-bill maturity dates? 3. When you start off with a 4, 8, and 13-week T-bill ladder, which T-bill do you auto-roll? 4. How do you switch from a 13-week T-bill ladder to a 17-week, 26-week, or longer maturity ladder? And 5. How do you ladder if you can't meet the $1,000 minimum investment required by most brokerages? For those of you who are new to us, we've actually covered some of these questions in previous T-bill videos. So in case you want a more detailed answer or illustrations, I've linked the original videos on these topics in the description below for your convenience. As usual, here's our front of video disclaimer. For a detailed disclaimer, please refer to the end of this video. So let's dive in, T-bill fans. Here's the breakdown of our T-bill ladders at the time of this taping. Approximately $81,500 in one of my IRAs or individual retirement accounts. About $81,400 in a normal taxable brokerage account where we're laddering excess emergency savings. And about $8,700 in a tax-incentivized health savings account. Most of these ladders are still primarily made up of 13-week T-bills. But whatever matures at this point, we are moving to 17-week T-bills, given that Fidelity now appears to offer auto-roll on them, which they didn't before. The difference in yield between the 13 and 17-week T-bills has been minimal at the most recent auctions at the time of this taping, ranging from anywhere between 1 and 12 basis points. But hey, every little bit counts. For those of you with Schwab, do drop a comment below if you know whether or not Schwab now offers auto-roll on the 17-week T-bill as well. And for those of you who are newer to T-bills, you can buy T-bills with Treasury Direct or any of the leading brokerage companies. We buy most of our T-bills via Fidelity, but I've linked all of these how to buy T-bill videos for the different platforms in the description below in case you need them. Moving on now to the first frequently asked question. We'll only stop laddering when we feel rates have peaked or are peaking. So the answer is not yet. And here are the 3 primary reasons why we don't think we're quite at peak yet and why we're still laddering T-bills. 1. The latest inflation numbers are at 4% year over year. So we haven't reached the Fed's target inflation rate of 2%. 2. The latest unemployment numbers are at 3.7%. So again, we haven't reached the Fed's target unemployment rate of 4.5%. And much more simply, 3. Fed Governor Powell's recent warnings that further rate hikes should be expected. When I feel that the interest rate peak is coming or has come, then we'll decide on what to do with the maturing proceeds from our T-bill ladders, whether we'll move them into longer-term fixed income instruments or back into equities, or perhaps into something else altogether. And yes, I will be doing a video or series of videos on that thought process when the time's right. In my opinion, that time is not now. With rates where they are currently, it's a great time to be a super saver right now. And it makes the answer to this question much more straightforward. Here's where the 4-week, 8-week, 13-week, 17-week, 26-week, and 52-week T-bills are at the time of this taping. Many CDs with similar maturities, as well as high-yield savings accounts and money market funds, are also paying in the high 4% to 5% plus range. Just bear in mind that interest earned on T-bills is taxed on a federal level only, whereas interest earned on CDs, high-yield savings accounts, and some money market funds is taxed on a federal, state, and local level. So, in this current high-rate environment, I would simply ladder in such a way so that my T-bills mature as close as possible to the due date of the expense that I'm laddering for. And upon maturity, I'd leave those proceeds in my money market fund or high-yield savings account until it's time to pay the expense I'm planning for. Here's an example assuming rates continue to rise. Let's say I have property taxes due on August 1st, December 1st, and April 1st. In this instance, I'd build a T-bill ladder with 3 endpoints, basically with T-bill maturity dates at the end of July, end of November, and end of March, respectively. And upon maturity, in my case, I'd leave my T-bill proceeds in my money market account with Fidelity for a few days until it's time to pay off the expense I'd been laddering for. Moving on now to question 3. You auto-roll the T-bill with the longest maturity on your T-bill ladder. So in this case, it would be the 13-week T-bill, meaning that if you were to start a 4, 8, and 13-week T-bill ladder in July, this is what your T-bill ladder would look like in July. And you would set this one on auto-roll. When the 4-week T-bill matures in August, you would use the proceeds to manually buy the next 13-week T-bill, which you would then set on auto-roll. And when the 8-week T-bill matures in September, you would similarly use the proceeds to manually buy the next 13-week T-bill and set that on auto-roll. And at that point, you'd have 13-week T-bills maturing every 4 weeks, and all on auto-roll. Here's our T-bill laddering 101 video if you want more detailed step-by-step strategies on how to construct a T-bill ladder. So, in my opinion, the easiest solution is simply to accept that there will be a gap in your ladder when you switch from a 13-week T-bill ladder to a 17-week, 26-week, or longer maturity ladder. Just as everyone's financial journey is different, everyone's T-bill ladder is different. We had started our own off as a 13-week T-bill ladder with preset amounts that matured like clockwork every 4 weeks. But as you can see here in this account, it's a little bit less structured now with the different maturity dates and amounts. And that's because during the debt ceiling crisis a few weeks back, as you may remember, some T-bills that were due to mature during a potential US default showed for a short time exceptionally high interest rates that I call blip rates. So super saver that I am, I picked up a bunch of T-bills with different maturity dates to capture some of these blip rates rather than auto-rolling as we normally do into the next tranche of 13-week T-bills. As a few of the other super savers in the community mentioned some time ago, their T-bill ladders look more like random stepping stools rather than a ladder with evenly spaced rungs. And that's completely fine if it works for you. In case it doesn't work for you though, in case having a missing rung or gap in your T-bill ladder bothers you when you switch over to longer maturity T-bills, then this is the video that you should check out, also linked below. The second half of the video walks through a few different options for filling in that gap. This one is a relatively straightforward question as well, assuming that you are purchasing your T-bills at auction. If you don't have the minimum investment requirement of $1,000 that most of the leading brokerage companies require, you could consider buying via Treasury Direct. Treasury Direct has a minimum investment requirement of $100. That's the advantage of buying from Treasury Direct. There are some disadvantages too, and yes, we have a video that walks you through that as well. It's this one here, also linked below. Alright, Super Saver, I hope this video answered some of the top T-bill laddering questions you've sent our way recently. And if you still have more T-bill questions, drop a comment below and we'll see if we can incorporate them into future videos. And for those of you ready to move beyond treasuries, check out these latest members only videos for a deeper dive into the world of bonds, and pencil in our first live members Q&A. Click on this join button on our channel page or the join link in the video description below for more details about Diamond NestEgg membership. As always, I hope this video was educational and that you learned something new. If you did, don't forget to share with those you care about and hit that thumbs up, and see you again very soon with more brand new wealth building content for your financial journey.